rolling.
I'm rolling.
Sorry. Tape rolling. God bless the planet Earth, land where we live. Stand beside us and guide us. Help us learn how to love and forgive. From the Holy Land to Afghanistan, from Bulgaria up to Nome. God bless the planet Earth. May all God's children have a home. God bless the planet Earth, our home, the only one we've got, sweet home. Until we go to Mars.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Dennis.
So nice having you on
Thank
today
you.
on Reasonably Spontaneous, to have a reasonably spontaneous conversation. When did you first pick up a guitar?
Well, 5 years ago, I think.
55 years ago?
I believe that's right.
And so that was where were you and what was going on and who were you?
Well, I was in North Dallas in my Farmers Branch, and my sister had just gone off to college and come back with a banjo and talked about Pete Seeger.
Yes?
And my brother had a guitar, and I kept picking it up every time he'd put it down, and I'd learn to play stuff, and so it was the folk craze.
Yeah.
And, next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire, and I got a guitar.
That's. Were you a child of the? Now, what year were you 18 years old?
69.
In 69. All right. So I was 18 in 65, 66. So
Yeah.
that was my. So we were in that time. So what was your consciousness at that time? At 18 years old, who did you think you were, and what was going on? Because we were talking about your work as a teacher and at Texas State, and who these kids think they are, and in sociology, right, and
Social work,
and what you're doing. So who did Lisa think she was, or see herself at 18?
My folks were Yellow Dog Democrats. My mom was in the North Dallas Democratic Women's Club with Ann Richards. When I was little bitty, I went and sold poll tax with her. First song I ever wrote was about beating up preachers on Selma's dirty streets. And, the rest, I mean, that was what I was, marinated in, basically.
Did you get involved with the war at that time? Were you aware of politics? Were you aware of what was going on?
Yeah, I was on the main mall at UT for Kent State. So I was. Yeah.
So you were involved in all that. Now, one of the things because I want to bring this along at the same time, because to me, comedy is tragedy happening to someone else, right? I mean, that's what it happens. Plus time.
Somebody else in time.
Were you a child of television? Did you grow up watching the sitcoms and watching your sense of humor develop during that time?
It wasn't really until somebody like Malvina Reynolds that I discovered that you could have music. Well, Woody Guthrie and those folks taught me that music didn't have to be complicated and poetic, and that you could really simply make up a song that people could sing and that people would feel.
Sure.
But it wasn't really until Malvina Reynolds that I learned that it could also be funny, and that there's something about humor in music that gets in and reaches people in a way that can be so intimate that it should be illegal. I mean, it really can touch people deeply because it lets down. Well, it's what you do.
Tell me about Malvina Reynolds.
She wrote Little Boxes. She wrote Turn Around.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
and she didn't start till she was 48. And I got to meet her before she died at a women's music festival, and I was so moved that I was like, this is what I want to do.
My God, and that is that, and that song, Little Boxes. Can you play it?
No. But I mean, I probably could, but it's not.
It's not,
I make up stuff so that nobody can say that's not how it goes.
No, well, the thing that I found interesting about it, and that we can bring in, is that this was the suburban life, that everybody had the same, one house after another. They're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they're all the same, and that's what we grew up with. Go to this model, the idea of the individual. The idea of the individuated and the power. I mean, here I am. I'm wearing this conservative coat and this wonderful Mexican Day of the Dead, and you're wearing that gorgeous hat and this great. This is who we are. We're getting a chance now to express who we are, as opposed to having to go to a standard, and that to me.
But as you said so eloquently at the Night of the Arts, when you're talking about some of the advantages of aging,
Yes.
is number one, we tend not to learn that until we're older, and we're
I
like,
know.
But number two, that's the advantage of being older. You're like, oh well,
Yeah.
right?
And that aspect of not having to care, of not having to have so much of be tied up into trying to in some way manipulate your opinion of me, because my opinion of me is the one that has to be the most important.
But until I have a better opinion of myself, I'm going to be depending on your opinion of me.
I'll tell you what I want to do. Lean forward to me for 1 second. I'm going to take your mic, and because it might be rubbing on the strap, and I'm going to take it here, and I'm going to put it right there. There we go. Now we're going to make sure, and that's where Jonathan, our wonderful Jonathan, who's running audio, isn't going to be sitting there going,
Thank you, Jonathan.
Isn't going to be sitting there going, on what we're doing. All right, so we're continuing this creative process and knowing your individuality. So did you have that urge to conform, that understanding of wanting to so be when you were 18 and 20, and talk about your evolution of Lisa Roach?
Well, being queer, I worked really hard to not necessarily conform, but to sort of obfuscate so nobody could really get to know me.
Yeah.
Worked really hard at that. Oh, look over here. Don't look at this, And then this helped.
Yeah.
Give somebody else.
And so that gave you some kind of, so tell me about the consciousness of being gay, being queer during that time. How did you come to peace with that within yourself and come in? All right, this is who I am. I always felt, as we've talked about before, different. I felt different inside. I can imagine that the same thing must have been going on for you, but I need to know your experience.
Me too. I'm still learning it.
Yeah.
Through the women's music movement, through the women's movement, but through women's music, I was able to, hear a little girl, reveal a little bit of myself, and then a little more, and then a little more, until the thing that really allowed me to grow into some authenticity was starting Out Youth, which is the program for gay and lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning young people.
When was this?
At the end of the 80s, when I was in social work school.
Yeah.
So as I was getting
How did the genesis of that idea come about?
I found out that there were groups like that in other parts of the country. And I did all my papers, all my research. Wow, really? Really? Mm-hmm. As in hopes of a corrective emotional experience, which then starting Out Youth was to sort of heal through all these young people who were learning to be themselves. I'm like, oh my God, really? If they can do it. So it was wonderful.
That's one of the things that I love so much, Lisa, about the learning experience, is that if I am a learning person, if I'm willing to dig deep and say, I'm going to continue to evolve. I haven't grown up. I'm merely evolving along, and then I'm going to learn from each and every person and each and every experience that I have.
Which is why I love teaching, because I get paid to learn. and it's why you love communicating. You know what I was thinking about you? You are the Renaissance communicator, man, because you're a interviewer, a journalist, a consultant, a speaker, a musician, a performer, a writer. I love that. But in the process of all that, you got this curiosity and this sort of excited calm that is just really compelling.
Oh, thank you,
I
Lisa.
love that about you.
I love I was talking with Phyllis Snodgrass from Habitat for Humanity earlier, and we were talking about the specificity of feedback. And the specificity of your feedback is what really nurtures my soul.
Nice.
That's what we get a chance to do. We get a chance to give one another very clear feedback, because I found that when we don't have that, we wonder, how am I doing? How am I doing? How am I doing? And it just keeps running in that loop inside, and so that when we close it, and is so valuable.
So I wanted to ask you, I was thinking about this on the way over here. If you could tell young Dennis Tardon something, say 20-year-old, 50 years ago, what would you tell him?
You know, it's interesting, because I was been trying to think of this. How was I nurtured and how was I not nurtured? And one of the places, when I was growing up in the 50s, it was very hands-off. It was the opposite of helicopter parenting. It was hands-off parenting.
Yeah, me too.
Just
me too.
They'll grow up. They'll be fine. Don't worry.
Dinner at 6. See you then.
Don't pay. And we
Yeah.
were sitting there. Oh, I think I would say that you are not. Everyone is feeling just the same insecurities that you
Yeah.
are. Breathe through this and relax. And also, let me teach you and help you to understand the value of work. Because I didn't. I was id boy.
Yeah.
I was basically, you know, I just, if it was fun, it was fine, and if it was work, you were telling me you didn't want me to do it, and then that was fun. So that would I'd be with you, and so I'm trying to nurture myself, and because I feel like that we can change the past in the present, so I can really rewrite my story by treating myself with the degree of compassion.
Well, yeah, you are in charge of the narrative. You can say, you know, you can say what happened. Totally. Yeah.
Isn't that the deal?
Yeah.
And that's where so do you write, tell me about the Therapy Sisters. Blows me away. Just the idea. How did this group come about? And what was the genesis of when a group comes together?
Yeah, because I've been in a bunch of them, but at the point of the Therapy Sisters, I was being a chaplain at the state hospital, and my wife was playing with a couple of other women, and their band broke up, and my wife and this other woman were like, "Oh, what are we going to do?" And so they said, "Well, let's be the Therapy Sisters," and they did a gig, and they had fun, and came home and said, "We need a guitar player." Okay, so that started that configuration, and it's changed over the years except for Maureen and me.
Yeah.
And it was therapeutic for them, and the intention is that it be therapeutic for other people, and then the whole process of composing and arranging and practicing and performing and feedback loop, that's all incredibly therapeutic. So.
What is your writing process? Do you have to sit down and sit down with a blank sheet
Totally
and to go, or does
depends.
it just,
It
or do
totally
they?
depends. You know, occasionally I'll see an article in the paper and I'll go, "Oh my God, that needs to be a song," and then I'll try to get out of the way of the muse, or I'll make up a verse and I'll go, "Help," you know, and come back to it later, and or Maureen will help me, or you know, it totally depends.
Yeah, it's a wonderful creative and collaborative process, right?
There's nothing like that for self-expression, and it's wonderful.
And where are you going? What are some of the things that you guys are taking the Therapy Sisters? Talk about some of some of the interesting projects that you guys are doing, or the...
Well, right now we're recording not to CD. We're recording for the new digital world, the cyber
Yes.
world of download a song here and there. And that's fun. We're doing it at the drummer's house. It's weird to say drummer because for the 30 years of the Therapy Sisters, we would have people, what we did was we would take pill bottles and we would put little stickers on them that would say, "Shake it, don't take it," or "Give up bad music for good," or something like that, and put rice in them and pass them out so everybody could participate, right? So it's weird to say we have a drum. Anyway, we're just content. Oh, I know. The other thing that I should tell you is the same 4 women that are in the Therapy Sisters are also in a Latin band called Las Gabachachas.
Las Gabachachas.
So we're trying to get kind of different gigs. We've got, farmers markets and women's fair trade things for Las Gabachachas. And then the Therapy Sisters play Patsy's and, whatever else. Supermarket openings, I don't know, whatever.
Exactly.
Conferences and things like that.
And how are you seeing, you bring a lot of comedy into your music. I would love for you to hear a song. I mean, play something in the middle of that would be fun for us.
Well, let me play a song that I thought of. Oh, maybe should I play?
I love that you have your music
Yeah,
here
my
on
music
the
is right here on this iPad.
Right.
This is a song that I thought of when I heard you doing that Night of the Arts.
Good.
So this is but it's also a song that's appropriate because I don't know, maybe it's getting older, but I mean, I had a whole lot of friends die of AIDS when I was younger, but it seems like a lot of people have been kicking the bucket lately, and I gotta wonder if it's because they're like, "Oh my God, this place is falling apart. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
I read the paper every day, but not for the news. I skip the business section, 'cause I know how much I'm losing. I could read the sports page, but first I'd have to care. I turn right to the obits to make sure my name's not there. I hear that heaven is the happening place to be. I can think of a worse spot to spend eternity. I hope you're in heaven. I hope I get there too. It wouldn't be heaven at all without you. Well, I read the obits every day, and when I'm done, I find I'm left with the impression that heaven will be lots of fun. The part of Gabriel will be played by Louis Armstrong instead. He'll be blowing his horn loud enough to wake the dead. You know that heaven is the place I plan to blow the blues heart in that angel band. I hope you're in heaven. I hope the dogs are there too. It wouldn't be heaven without them and you. Jimmy, Janice, Bessie, Billy, Buddy, Stevie Ray, Selena, and Johan. Won't somebody save me a front row seat in the great beyond? I check to see whose stories made it into print and read the loving tributes of the time they spent. Well, I hope that when my story runs, it makes you proud, and that a well-placed typo makes you laugh out loud. It looks like heaven is a happening place to go. I want a backstage pass to that all-star show. I hope in heaven there's more than a snowball's chance that I can learn to salsa dance. But if my name's not in the paper, it's a real safe bet. I'm still in Texas. I'm not in heaven yet.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Oh, thank you, Dennis.
That just makes me happy. And, Lisa, I've been thinking about so much about how, because I've been doing the same thing. I've been reading the the obituaries as an exercise, as just to say bon voyage to the people
Thank
that
you
are
so
there,
much
and
for-
thank you for your service,
Yeah.
and to humanity as being a part of this of this mortal coil. And I really think about how, let's say in my metaphor, the
car?
the not just the car,
Okay.
but the universe, because I'm going to say in my, what I've studied about the universe is we're about 13.7 billion years old. And so was I, whatever this conglomeration of that coalesced into a consciousness that is Dennis, what was going on with me for 13.7
Yeah.
billion years? Was I bored? I didn't seem to be bored. It didn't seem to bother me during that time. It doesn't really matter. I mean, that's what it took in order. So just using the law of large numbers, some 80 billion, trillion, quadrillion years from now, it has to come. There's no place to go. There's nothing that could.
So you're giving me a crazy image of a cartoon of a quadrillion or a number of people in line,
Yeah.
lining up, and they're playing on their iPhones while they're waiting their turn to be born. Okay, time's up. All right.
Okay,
next.
your turn. Next, guy, jump in. That's exactly, because I feel like whatever it is, whatever this is, or this opportunity to individuate and to come in, there is something here that connects with me being more my authentic self. That's really that's really the role. That I have some role to play, and if I can be that authentic self, then the music of the spheres, the harmonics, whatever it is, it just vibrates in that wonderful harmony. When I was a kid, I listened, besides having a crush on Janet, I listened to the Lennon sisters, and I would listen to the Everly Brothers, and I would listen to
Shirley.
and the
Even though
Andrews
they were
sisters,
little early, but yeah.
of course the
Yeah,
Andrews
yeah,
sisters, and the Ink Spots, and all of the
Yeah, Supremes.
harmonies.
Yes.
Harmonies did something for me.
Me too.
And it's just there. So there's something about, but it requires more than one
It's a choir.
voice in order to make
It's
that
the
harmony.
church
Exactly.
choir. Yeah.
And that's what. Talk. How is your version of God, whatever that is, whatever that word means, evolved over that? Because you've been a chaplain, and how has it evolved for you, your spiritual journey?
The only way that I can handle religion is to believe that in a God who knows better, and who sort of shakes their head and just keeps loving in spite of or emitting whatever
Yeah.
personification of that might look like that we can understand. I mean, I have to believe
Yep.
in something, and I have to believe that it's good, but I also have to believe that it's complicated, and I have to believe that my job is to be the best version of it that I can,
Yeah.
at this moment.
Exactly, because that's what it. If it's anything, then it has to be. It has to completely encompass me and completely encompass you. It has to be an and gate rather than an or gate. It has to. There has to be something deeply inclusive. That if it is my job to find, to search for, and to look for the most beautiful, precious light in another individual that I can, that's my job.
The social part of social work is this for me, because it's all the chemical compounds you see in the world. They're not single atoms or whatever. They're searching for connection, which is what I hear you saying that we're supposed to do. Yeah.
When in the social realm, to say that this is where I'm, you know, it seems like in our country where we are here in 2018 and is that we're really searching for ourselves. We're really in almost like an adolescent phase and trying to see just who are we, or redefining just exactly who we are. And it appears to me, or at least I feel like it, is that there's a real, we're in this together, that I need you. I need you, and I need the rest of the people. I can't just be this, I'm just in here for myself, by myself, and I got to get everything that I need to do that. It just doesn't, I don't feel it's that way.
Yeah, but there are some electrons out there that are pretty negative.
Right. So how do you
it's hard to attract them.
Exactly. So how do you deal with the negativity and stay and keep your optimism and knowing that you
humor.
Yeah. And
So
we're going to have about 3 minutes. So you say
perfect
humor.
segue.
I mean, do you see where Donna comes in and gives us the perfect segue?
Yeah, this is the perfect segue to this song, which obviously the theme of which some say it's Ram Dass.
Good old Richard Alpert.
Yeah,
God
exactly.
Bless him.
Buddha, Krishna, who's to say? One is the only way. As long as I live and breathe, I pray we'll be walking each other home. Karma is a toss of the dice. Could be fire, might be ice. So why not just be nice while we're walking each other home? Some roads are long and far from home, while others short and sweet. Some journeys and no more to roam, while others repeat. Now some folks pack a lot of stuff just in case the road gets rough, playing this game of blind man's bluff while we walking each other home. We'll leave the campsite cleaner than we found it, barely leaving a trace. Though I know we're homeward bound, it's true, this too is a sacred space. So dwell not on the kingdom come, fear not that you'll succumb. Just follow this rule of thumb and keep walking each other home. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now if you get home before I do, please ask somebody why do we ever leave? But if this is the path that we all chose, I'm left wondering, oh who knows what to believe? I believe the music there will be first rate, and every pitch across the plate impatient.